I flew into New Zealand, to the North Island, to Wellington. I followed the whole west coast up, just under Auckland, up the Coromandel coast, and then I kept on following the whole east coast back to Wellington. After that I took the ferry over to the South Island, and I started to follow the whole east coast down, the whole way down to Dunedin, and then back up to Queenstown and Wanaka, and I crossed out on the west coast. I kept on following the whole west coast back up to Picton, where I took the ferry back to Wellington. The 29th of December 2018, I flew into Wellington, New Zealand and North Island to start my big adventure around the country. I was a little bit too excited to start my journey, so when I put my bike together at the airport, I managed to squeeze my gear cable. So when I was on the road, I realized I couldn't change the gear, so I stopped and tried to fix the problem. Luckily enough, Malcolm, a really nice man, stopped along the road and asked me if I needed help. He didn't just help him with the bike, he also offered me to stay with him and his beautiful wife Rochelle, and they also sorted me out for a big part of this journey. I started my trip in New Zealand following the west coast up towards New Plymouth. It was very beautiful nature along the whole way, and I really loved to be along the coastline. After 5 days of biking, I arrived to the Waitomo Caves. It was raining really heavy, so I decided to go in and have a look on the glowing worms. The day after I arrived in Huntly, and I met a man walking his dog. He offered me to stay at his place, which was maybe a big mistake. It was probably the most dirty, disgusting place I ever put my tent up. I wanted to bike around the whole Coromandel coast, but unfortunately the weather was a bit against me, so I decided to cross over to the east coast and follow my way down. A lot of people wondering what I'm listening to while I'm biking. Often I don't listen to anything and I just like to hear the nature around me. But I do maybe listen to 2 podcasts during a day, and very rarely I do listen to music. In Makatu I stayed with my friend Speedy. He also took me out on his jet ski, on his motorbike, and he also showed me the Mount Manganui. That was very beautiful. I also did a little bike trip to Rotorua, where I biked around in the redwood forest. A really tricky thing with New Zealand is that you're not allowed to put your tent up anywhere. It's fenced all over the place and it's really hard to squeeze in somewhere. But I managed to do it the whole way around North and South Island. I kept on following the east coast on the North Island the whole way down to Gisborne. The nature was very beautiful and I had some big days. I normally did around 170 k's and it was very big climbs often. I rocked up to Gisborne pretty late in the evening. I went down to check the waves, and by accident I bumped into Magoo, a guy that I met in Lakey the year before, so I stayed with him and his wife Marina and his 2 beautiful daughters. It took me 17 days to do 2,000 kilometers around the North Island, and now it was my time to get over to the South Island. the 18th of December, I took the ferry over to the South Island. The ferry took about 4 hours and the weather was very beautiful when I arrived in Picton. When I got off the ferry in the afternoon, I started to bike along the east coast towards Christchurch. So it's been raining the whole day, but I found a pretty nice base camp. Just making some pasta. After passing the Meraki boulders, I heard rumors there could be a chance for me to see penguins down at the lighthouse. So I took my bike and I went down there, and I was lucky. A lot of hills, but well worth the view, I have to say. Okay, I didn't really find any good place to camp tonight, so I'm on a spot where you're not allowed to, and I made a bit of a camouflage here, so I hope no one gonna see me. I passed Dunedin and I kept on going 400 more k's south. Then I turned around and went north towards Queenstown and Wanaka. I couldn't have asked for a better Christmas. The weather was beautiful, I loved being in the mountains, and it was stunning nature. So this is the bridge where people normally jumping bungee jump, and I'm pretty happy it's Christmas and closed, so I don't need to take any stupid decisions. Normally I woke up around 6 in the morning and I put my tent and my base camp down, and around 6:45 I was always ready to be back on the road again. The good thing with New Zealand was that it was not as hot as Australia was, so I never needed to stress or race to escape the heat. It was a very relaxed trip, and I had a lot of time to stop and look on beautiful things along the way. I still did very big days, between 150 and 170 k's, even though it was way more hilly and a lot of climbs. Probably one of my favorite parts on the whole trip was the crossover from Wanaka over to the west coast to Haas Pass. It was a lot of big climbs along the way, but the nature had so much beautiful things to offer: waterfalls, glaciers, rivers, ocean, mountains, and I just couldn't get enough. I stopped at the blue pools, and of course I had to jump from the bridge.
Very quickly, yeah?
The water was freezing but very refreshing. 8 years ago, me and my friend Evelina was driving around New Zealand, and it was really sad to come back to Fox Glacier and see how much it's been moving backwards. So tonight I'm camping in this beautiful gorge. Here you got my tent, and there is the bridge for the train, the river. The west coast of South Island, New Zealand is probably one of my favorite spots in the world. Unfortunately, they do have a lot of sandflies and they were eating me like crazy. Okay, cooking some pasta, some dinner. I just had a swim. This beautiful place. They're gonna be my base camp for tonight. And over here we have wild goats, a little baby and a mom. Hey. 2,300 k's later in 16 days, I was finished with my bike trip around the South Island. I took the ferry back from Picton to Wellington. Thank you, Magical New Zealand, for giving me a lifetime memory. I definitely will come back one day. Also thanks heaps to all you awesome people that donated money to Animal SOS Sri Lanka that helps the street dogs. We almost got 1,400 euros together.